Good evening. Winter has arrived with an icy blast transforming parts of the state into fields of white. For more now, we're joined by Tom Saker on a very brisk evening in Katoomba. Good evening to you, Tom. It's cold enough where you are, but there was snow further west today.
Well, that's right, Kirstie. It is incredibly cold here in Katoomba at the moment, just 2 degrees, but as has been the case for much of the day, the feels-like temperature is much colder than that, about -6 or -7 according to the Weather Bureau. It was cold enough to snow this morning, but there simply wasn't enough cloud cover. It was a much different story. Less than an hour's drive west from here, the Central Tablelands receiving quite a bit of snow, and that proved today to be the main attraction.
Residents west of the ranges went to sleep in autumn. A few hours later and several degrees lower, they woke to this. Winter on their doorstep. Tom Saker, 7 News.
And as we just heard from Tom, that wind chill has sent temperatures plummeting, but it's the powerful gusts that have kept the SES busy. Crews responded to hundreds of calls for help, with a warning another major cold snap is on the way.
A winter's dawn that sent a shiver through all of Sydney. And as the temperature plunged, so did these dedicated swimmers at Collaroy. Paul Caddick, 7 News.
We might be keeping the heater on with this cold weather, but a growing number of energy retailers are urging customers to seek better offers now or risk paying double on their electricity bills. The companies are victims of skyrocketing wholesale energy prices and admit they can no longer offer discount deals.
Liam Clarkson has been warned, switch providers or face a hefty surge in his power bill.
Millions of Australians could see an extra $37 a week in their pay packets as part of a push by the federal government to increase the minimum wage. The move comes as our new look cabinet hits the ground running.
A portrait of political change. Winners are grinners. The first Albanese ministry taking a new direction.
A pedestrian has been critically hurt after being struck by a bus in Sydney. Witnesses say the bus turned onto a road on a green arrow when the tragedy unfolded. The 20-year-old man suffered serious head injuries and is being treated in hospital. The driver has undergone mandatory blood alcohol testing. The hospital responsible for looking after our sickest of children is tonight at breaking point. Queues have stretched out the door with young patients waiting up to 18 hours for a bed.
When Knox Denvert had a fall in the playground, he ended up in the Children's Hospital at Westmead.
The US President has praised New Zealand for what he's calling galvanising action against gun crime. The chorus of voices pushing for change is growing in the town of Uvalde. Actor Matthew McConaughey has lended his support today, returning to his hometown as families began the first of 21 funerals.
A heartbreaking send-off for a little girl who tried to save her classmates. Emery Jo Garza called police for help.
Still to come tonight, escaping the jaws of a croc, a swimmer shares how he made it out alive. The family searching for answers 15 years after a fatal coward punch, and bullets fly as a gunman opens fire at a service station. Bystanders have been forced to run for their lives, ducking for cover during a wild shootout at an American service station. Police have identified the 4 gunmen involved, all in their 20s. One has turned himself in. Next up in sport, a former Blues skipper goes into bat for his successor, scoffing at calls to axe him, and a win for the ages. In breaking AFL news, Bunny Franklin has just lost his case at the AFL tribunal. The AFL and Swans argued for more than an hour to decide if he'd intentionally struck Richmond's Trent Cotchin. It took just half an hour for the jury to return to uphold Franklin's 1-game ban. Well, if this was the last battle between Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, they certainly gave us one to savour. Rafa, the wounded king of clay, won a 4-set French Open quarter-final, saying it should end the debate on who's the greatest of all time. Well, it's been cold, and there's more cold on the way. Winter well and truly arriving. I'll have weather up next. And thanks to Maxine for tonight's photo from Hazel Grove near Oberon. Time for a look at our national weather now, and cold and blustery winds have seen snowfalls across the central tablelands today. The low teens during the day, Coonabarabran also in just 13 degrees, Mudgee a top of 13 and Batemans Bay 16. 9 and 15 for 13, I should say, and Broome 29. That's your news for this evening though. Thanks again for your company. I'm Kirstie Fitzpatrick. Have a wonderful evening. We'll be back again tomorrow. Good night.